بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام والسنة. All praise and thanks belong to Allah for guiding us to Islam and for guiding us to the Sunnah. Alhamdulillah, hamdan kathiran. Being guided to Islam is such a tremendous bounty, and being guided to the Sunnah is such a tremendous bounty. We have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these bounties, and we have to strive to maintain, protect, and safeguard these precious gifts and presents in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He has bestowed upon us. We had reached the section in the tremendous book by the Fadilatul Shaykh Al-Allama Imam bin Baz rahimahullah ta'ala. We have reached the section where the Imam he mentions ثم يبين للطالب بقية أركان الإسلام الخمسة, and then is to be explained to the student the rest of the 5 pillars of Islam, وهي الصلاة والزكاة والصوم رمضان والحج البيت الحرام لمن استطاع إليه سبيلا. And they are the salah, the prayer, az-zakah, charity, Sawm Ramadan, fasting in Ramadan, wal Hajjul Bayt, and making Hajj to the house for the one who has the ability to do it. These are the pillars of the Deen of Al-Islam. These are the 5 pillars of Islam. The 4 that are mentioned here, and the Shahada, Na'am, the testimony. Alhamdulillah, we went over the meaning of both parts of the Shahada and that which is related to it in previous classes. So now it brings us to the rest of the 5 pillars to look at them and to reflect upon them bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. Now, because most of the listeners are individuals who have been Muslim for some time and are aware of the pillars of Islam, I encourage everyone, as I encourage myself, to reflect upon this reminder and reflect upon your connection and relationship to these pillars, reflect on the beauty of the deen of al-Islam as can be seen and as is illustrated in these pillars, and the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them obligatory upon all of us. Reflect upon this and contemplate and ponder bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. These pillars, we know that they are the pillars of the deen and that they are 5 in number due to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that hadith that is narrated an Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, on the authority of Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Buniya al-Islam ala khams," that Islam is built upon 5. Shahadati an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah wa iqam as-salat wa ita' az-zakat wa hajj al-bayt wa sawm al-Ramadan. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said what it means, and Islam is built upon 5. The testimony that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, the establishment of the prayer, the payment of the zakat, making hajj to the house, and fasting Ramadan. This hadith is a hadith that is mutafiqun alayh. It's a hadith that is agreed upon. The authenticity of this hadith is agreed upon by Al-Bukhaari and Muslim. Hadith mutafiqun alayh. This is the strongest level of hadith. قال فضيلة الشيخ عبد الرزاق بن شيخ عبد المحسن العباد البدر حفظهم الله تعالى. He mentions, he says, تبين الأركان الإسلام من حيث أهميتها وبيان شيء من أحكامها. And also from the standpoint, explaining the deen of al-Islam, explaining the pillars of the deen of al-Islam from the standpoint of their importance, showing some of the important aspects of it, and also going over some aspects of the rules and regulations as relates to it. Now, he mentions, he says, فَالصَّلَاةِ هِيَ رُكْنٌ ثَانٍ. Salah, it is the second pillar. Salah is the second pillar. نعم. من أركان الإسلام is the second pillar from the pillars of Islam. وهي أعظم مبانيه بعد التوحيد. And the salah, it is the greatest pillar of the deen of al-Islam after tawheed. نعم. So after the shahada, what is the greatest pillar of the deen of al-Islam? Then it is the salah. It is the salah. نعم. طيب. So again, we want to look at تبين الأركان الإسلام من حيث أهميتها وبيان شيء من أحكامها. And I want you to keep this on your mind. Looking at the pillars of the deen of al-Islam from the standpoint of their importance, and looking at some aspects of them. Now, I'm not going into all of the aspects, but some of the aspects of the deen of al-Islam. So the first of them is that we're going to look at is the second pillar, because we already went over the first pillar in the previous classes as aforementioned, and it is the salah. And this salah is a pillar that is the greatest pillar. And there's only one pillar that is greater than it. And which is that pillar that is greater than it?
Salah.
Yeah, which one is greater than salah? Naam, the shahada. Ahsantum. Right. So after the shahada, naam, after the shahada is the greatest pillar. After the shahada, which is the greatest pillar? As-salah. Naam, the salah is very important. Naam. The salah is very important. The salah is a must. Na'am. The salah is a must. Like, no matter what is going on in the life of an abd, or whatever is going on in the life of an ama, whatever is going on in the life of a slave, they have to make sure they are steadfast and constant upon their salah. Na'am. They have to make sure they are steadfast and constant upon their salah. Na'am. The salah, وهي برهان للصدق إيمان الشخص. Because the salah is the proof which points to the truthfulness of the iman, of the faith of an individual. Na'am. And we want to stress this because the shaitan, whenever an individual was going through some rough times, na'am, the shaitan, he'll come and he whisper and he say, stop praying. So you find people, wa'iyadu billah, they, due to a situation or whatever the case may be, they stop praying. Wa'iyadu billah, they stop praying. And when you do that, you're adding calamity and tragedy upon whatever your situation is. Calamity upon calamity. Now, a worse calamity, a greater tragedy, that which is more destructive and more detrimental to your overall situation and condition, you add it upon whatever little bit of problem you happen to be going through. Right? Because there is no problem inside of the dunya that is great enough to make you want to stop, to make you stop praying. Not at all. The salah is so important. The salah is so important that no matter what situation that you are in, it is wajib upon you to pray. Now, if you're in a situation and you can't stand, then you pray what? Sitting down. If you can't sit down, then you pray what? Laying down. If you don't have water to make wudu, then you can do what? Tayammum. But if you're in a situation where you don't have water to make the wudu, and you cannot make tayammum, what do? You pray anyway. Na'am, and your prayer is accepted. Na'am, so the ulama, they mentioned, for an example, na'am, that if a person was taken as a prisoner of war, right, or a prisoner, and they were shackled. They were shackled and they were put inside of a cell. And during the duration of being shackled, they broke their wudu. But then the time for salah, it came in. The time for salah, it came in. And they were unable to move. They were physically unable to move because they were shackled. Right? So they weren't able to make wudu because there was no water. And because of this situation, they were unable to make tayammum. In that case, they will pray, yani, ala halihim. They will pray upon whatever situation they're on. Now, they will pray upon that situation, then that's it. Likewise, and this is important, وَنَسْأَلَّهَ الْعَافِيَةَ وَالسَّلَامَةَ, and we ask Allah for protection and safety. But for example, عَلَى سَبِيلِ مِثَالٍ, maybe an example that will strike closer to home. If a person was hospitalized, they were in the hospital, and they were in such a situation that they were ridden to the bed in the hospital because they have the IV and they have the heart monitor and whatever the case is. They may have all this stuff hooked up to them inside of the hospital bed. And they were in a weakened condition. So although a person may say, but there are sinks in the hospital, they can have access to water. Yeah, possibly, right? But they were in a weakened condition where they couldn't get up. They were weak and they were hurt. They were in a situation they couldn't get up. But they were conscious. They had their wherewithal with them. But they were unable to make wudu. There was no one there to help them make a wudu. They were in a hospital bed, so they can't make a tayammum. There is no clean earth that they can reach, not even dust, and the like. What do they do in that situation? They pray upon this. They pray upon their condition. They pray upon whatever halat they're in. You pray. That's how important the prayer is. You do whatever movement you can do from the prayer. You fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the best of your ability. If you can't stand, no problem, sit down. If you can't raise your hand, do your best. Raise it to the best of your ability. If you can't, pray to the best of your ability. Now, there's never an excuse not to pray. Even in that situation, pray. Pray. Even in that situation, pray. If the person has their senses, if the person is not out of it in a daze because of the medication and things of this nature. They have their senses, they're conscious, their mind is sharp. Pray. Pray upon whatever condition. That's how important the prayer is. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala we'll see. But from that, listen, the Shaykh, he mentions that it is a proof to the truthfulness of a person's iman. Naam. It is a proof to the truthfulness of a person's iman. كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام عندما ذكرت عند الصلاة, as the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, he mentioned before the salah, قال, he said, من حافظ عليها, whoever he safeguards and he protects, he's diligent over his prayer, he safeguards and protects his prayer, كانت له نورا وبرهانا, then he will have a light and he will have a proof. He will have a proof. نعم. ونجاة يوم القيامة, he will have a light and he will have a proof and he will have success on the day of judgment. نعم. The day of judgment, he'll have a light, he'll have a proof and success on the day of judgment. This day is tremendous. Naam, the day of judgment. Some of the Sahaba inside of the sujood, they used to beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying, Allahumma qini adhabak yawma tab'athu ibadak. Oh Allah, save me from your punishment on the day that you resurrect your slaves. They will beg Allah Ta'ala for this inside their sujood. Why? Because of the tremendous nature of the day of judgment. Because of the horrors that are going to be there on the day of judgment. They used to beg Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to keep them safe, to save them from His punishment on the day that He resurrects His slave. On the day that He resurrects His slaves. Now, and there are a few wordings for this dua. Some come, Allahumma qini, oh Allah, safeguard me. Some come, Rabbi qini, oh my Lord, safeguard me. So on and so forth. Now, what's muhim is that we remember the seriousness of the day of judgment. Naam. And we remember the horrors that are going to be on the day of judgment. And that we are preparing to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are preparing and getting ready for the day of judgment. And from the greatest of the things after at-tawheed, from the greatest of the things after tawheed that will get us ready for the day of judgment, bring for us light, bring for us success, bring for us a proof and an evidence, is what? Is the salah. Being steadfast upon the salah. So, just this alone by itself is enough for us, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, is enough for us to understand the importance of the salah. Naam. Because look at the Sahaba. Naam. And I'm going a little bit longer on this point for a point. Right? From the Sahaba that used to make this dua in sujood was the narrator of the aforementioned hadith, the hadith of Islam being built upon 5. Naam, the narrator of the hadith, he was one who used to make this dua inside of sujood. It has been narrated upon him that he used to say, Rabbi qini adhabak yawma tab'athu ibadak. My Lord, save me from your punishment on the day that you resurrect your slaves. Naam. Who was that Sahabi? What's his name? No. Remember, the one who narrated the aforementioned hadith. See? Everything is fair game. Everything I mentioned is fair game. Now, online, the sisters beat you to it. They beat you to it. Huh? It's Ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Umar. Remember, the hadith, Buni al-Islam ala khams, is a hadith that is narrated by Abdullah ibn Umar, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He used to make this dua inside of his sujood. When he prostrated, he made this dua. Like, it is important, you see, because listen, we say we Salafi, right? And alhamdulillah, this is a good thing. Na'am, it's a good thing. No one could be blamed who connects himself to the madhab of the Salaf. Na'am. But listen, saying that we Salafi is not just for claims. It's not just something just to be said. As we know with Da'wah Salafiyya, it has qawa'id, it has principles. Na'am. We have to apply those principles of the Da'wah Salafiyya. We have to have the Aqidah that's Salafi. We have to have the minhaj is Salafi. So our creed has to be Salafi. Our methodology has to be Salafi. Na'am. Is that it? No, that's not it. Right? A lot of people, because they have a warped understanding of what Salafiyya is, and in their estimation, you Salafi. If you go to this particular masjid, you Salafi. That's it. If you speak good about these particular set of people, you Salafi. That's it. If you with these brothers, you Salafi. That's it. Like, but then when you ask them about the Aqidah Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they don't know. Like, how you Salafi? Huh? You ask about the Minhaj Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they say, well, he don't know. Okay, how he Salafi? You understand? It is incumbent, it is a must that we strive to be Salafi. The Imam of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, from the Imams of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah in our time, right? The one who, the author of this book, Sheikh bin Baz, he says, I have no doubt that this man is the Mujaddid. He is the reviver of Islam of our time. And he was referring to who? To Imam Muhammad Nasiruddin al-Albani. Na'am. Imam al-Albani, rahmatullah alayhi, for those who know his history. See, some of us older ones, who we were alive when he was alive still, rahimahullah ta'ala, we remember his call. We remember his call. We remember his efforts. We remember his da'wah. Imam al-Albani, rahmatullah alayhi, he was from those ulama that taught the people about da'wah salafiyya. Na'am. He was from those imams that taught the people about da'wah salafiyya and the importance of connecting oneself to it by saying, and a Salafi. Okay? He was from those imams that taught the people da'wah salafiyya and encouraged them to call themselves Salafi. Right? So, this imam, what was his advice? What was his advice to the people? He said, Kun Salafiyan. He said, be Salafi. Right? Be Salafi. Aqidatan, in your creed. Of course, in creed, we know it means aqidah and minhaj. They're together, right? They're together. He said, aqidatan wa ibadatan wa sulukan. Be Salafi in your aqidah, in your creed, and the manner that you worship, in the manner that you worship, and inside of your character, Naam. So when a person is saying he's Salafi, he's saying that he's upon that which the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba were upon. Right? The Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba, they were what? They were steadfast upon the Salah. Naam, from showing us the importance of getting our situation straight, Yawm al-Qiyamah, we have from the Sahaba those who used to make dua in sujood, oh Allah, save me from your punishment on the day that you resurrect your slaves. Where are we from this? Aina nahnu min haula? Where are we from them? Naam. If perhaps maybe we didn't know about this dua. Maybe it's the first time we're hearing about it. Alhamdulillah, that's good. So let's use it. Let's try to get ready, because one of the characteristics of the Salaf is that what? They were preparing themselves for the Day of Judgment. They were preparing for the Day of Judgment. Now, this is something that is vital, has to be upon our minds. This is a part of what it means to be Salafi. Now, this is a part of what it means to be Salafi, right? Is that we are steadfast upon the Salah. And it's important that we stress that. Now, it's important that we stress that. Is that we steadfast upon the Salah, is that we do that which we're supposed to be doing from those obligations in which Allah Ta'ala has made obligatory upon us. Because we want to be safe Yawm al-Qiyamah. We want to be safe Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, he said that whoever is steadfast upon the Salah, now we come back to the hadith, right? That the one who was steadfast upon the Salah, then he will have a light, he will have a proof, and he will have success where? Yawm al-Qiyamah, on the Day of Judgment. Na'am. وَمَنْ لَمْ, and whoever لَمْ يُحَافِظْ عَلَيْهَا, but whoever is not steadfast upon it, لَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ نُورٌ وَلَا بُرْهَانٌ وَلَا نَجَاتٌ, he will not have light, nor an evidence, nor will he have any success. وَكَانَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ مَعَ, and on the Day of Judgment, he going to be with. Listen, who he going to be with on the Day of Judgment? This is Yawm al-Qiyamah. On the Day of Judgment, he's going to be with Qarun. Ya Salam. Do we know who is Qarun? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he mentions Qarun inside the Qur'an. From the places where Qarun is mentioned inside the Qur'an is in Surah Al-Qasas. Surah Al-Qasas. Whoever wants to grab a mushaf, inshallah ta'ala, can read it along. Surah Al-Qasas. And it's verse number 76. Na'am. Verse number 76. Allah Ta'ala says about Qarun, إِنَّ قَارُونَ كَانَ مِنْ قَوْمِ مُوسَى فَبَغَى عَلَيْهِمْ. That Qarun, he was from the people of Musa, and he acted arrogantly towards them. Na'am. Allah Ta'ala says, وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْكُنُوزِ, and we gave him from the treasures. We gave him from the treasures. مِنَ الْكُنُوزِ مَا إِنَّ مَفَاتِحَهُ لَتَنُوءُ. نعم لَتَنُوءُ بِالْعُصْبَةِ أُولِي الْقُوَّةِ. نعم أُولِي الْقُوَّةِ. And we gave him treasures, that of which the keys will be a burden for strong men. In usbah, a group of men, it will be a burden for them. إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ قَوْمُهُ لَا تَفْرَحْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْفَرِحِينَ. And when his people told him, don't become happy, meaning don't become happy due to this dunya that you have been given, and arrogantly boastful, because Allah does not love those who arrogantly boast. Allah does not love those who are ungrateful. Those who are ungrateful due to what they had been given. Na'am. وَبَتَغِي فِيمَا أَتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةِ. And they said, but seek by that which Allah Ta'ala has given you the hereafter. وَلَا تَنْسَى نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. And do not forget your portion of lawful enjoyment in this world. Na'am, they gave him advice that was balanced. Seek after, use your wealth to gain good in the akhirah, but don't forget you can also benefit from it here in the dunya. وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. And be good as Allah Ta'ala was good unto you. وَلَا تَبْغِ الْفَسَادَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And do not commit acts of transgression inside of the earth. Do not commit mischief inside of the earth. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. Because Allah does not love those who make mischief. Na'am. Allah does not love those who make mischief. قال إنما أوتيته على علم عندي. He said arrogantly, he said, I've been only getting this out of knowledge in which I got. Now he equated all of his riches, all of his success to some knowledge that he thought that he had. وَعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. And we see this is the like of the rich people even to this day. This is how they are. أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَهْلَكَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مِنَ الْقُرُونِ مَنْ هُوَ أَشَدُّ مِنْهُ قُوَّةً وَأَكْثَرُ جَمْعًا. It says, does he not know that Allah Ta'ala had destroyed before him generations, men who were stronger than him and were mightier and richer than him, who had more money than him, who had more wealth than him, who had collected more than him. وَلَا يُسْأَلُ عَنْ ذُنُوبِهِمُ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. And they will not be questioned about the sins of these sinners, the sins of those who are sinners. نعم. على كل. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, فَخَرَجَ عَلَى قَوْمِهِ فِي زِينَتِهِ. So he came out amongst his people boastfully, pompously, inside of his, all of his adornments and the like. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ يُرِيدُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا يَا لَيْتَ لَنَا مِثْلَ مَا أُوتِيَ قَارُونُ إِنَّهُ لَذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. And the people who wanted the dunya, who were deceived by it, they say, oh, woe unto us that we had the like of what he has, that we have the like of what Qur'an has been given. Verily he is the owner of a great portion. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمِ. But those who have been given knowledge, those who have been given knowledge, they said, وَيْلَكُمْ. Woe unto you people for saying this and whatnot. ثَوَابُ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ لِمَنْ آمَنَ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. The reward with Allah is better. Then it is better for the one who believes and does righteous good deeds. وَلَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الصَّابِرُونَ. And none will attain it except for those who are patient. Naam. Allah Ta'ala says, فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضَ فَمَا كَانَ لَهُ مِنْ فِئَةٍ ينصرونه من دون الله وما كان من المنتصرين. Allah Ta'ala says, so we caused the earth to swallow him and his dwelling place. We caused the earth to swallow him and his dwelling place. And then he had no group, no party, no assembly of men and jinn to help him whatsoever against Allah. And no one could save, and not a single one of them could even save themselves. There was no one to save this particular individual. Naam, who? Qarun. So this is the end result of who? Of Qarun. This individual. Naam. فَأَصْبَحَ الَّذِينَ تَمَنَّوْا مَكَانَهُ بِالْأَمْسِ. Remember the day before, the ones they came out, they said, oh, wish we had what he had. He had such a great portion, so on and so forth. Na'am, they learned the lesson. فَأَصْبَحَ الَّذِينَ تَمَنَّوْا مَكَانَهُ بِالْأَمْسِ. So when they got up the next morning, those who wanted his to be like him the day before, يَقُولُونَ, they said, they said, وَيْكَأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ رِزْقَ نعم لمن يشاء من عباده ويقدر. They said, those who wanted his portion the day before, they mentioned, as they said, know you not that Allah, he gives provisions to whom he wishes, and he restricts it from whom he pleases. He gives restrictions to whom he wishes, and he restricts it from whom he pleases from his slaves. Na'am. From his slaves. وَلَوْلَا أَن مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا لَخَسَفَ بِنَا. And if Allah had not given a great bounty unto us, then the earth would have swallowed us up too. And they say, know you not that Allah does not make successful those who are kuffar. Allah does not grant success to the kuffar. Na'am. Ala kulli hal, this is Qarun, the pompous, arrogant, boastful kafir that Allah caused the earth to swallow him and his resting and his his dwelling place to make the earth swallow this person due to his arrogance and transgression. There's an evil person. Those who are not steadfast upon their salah yawmul qiyamah going to be with him. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Wal Fir'aun," and they'll be with Fir'aun. The Fir'aun, the one who fought against Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, the one who fought against Harun alayhi salatu wassalam, the one who tried to destroy and kill the believers, the one who gathered his army and chased after the believers to kill them until they drowned, until Allah Ta'ala drowned him and his minions, him and his army. This evil person, Fir'aun, the one who is not steadfast upon his salah, on the day of judgment, he's going to be with what? Fir'aun. Who want to be with Fir'aun yawm al-qiyamah? Who want to be with Qarun yawm al-qiyamah? A'udhu billah. This is for who? This is for the one who was not steadfast upon his prayer. Na'am. Wa Haman. And they're going to be with Haman on the day of judgment. And Haman, he was the grand vizier of Fir'aun. A'udhu billah. He was the grand vizier of Fir'aun. He was with Fir'aun in the foolishness that Fir'aun he was upon. These are three individuals you don't never want to be next to. You never want to be with them. Wa Ubay bin Khalaf. And they will be with Ubay. And they will be with Ubay bin Khalaf. Who is Ubay bin Khalaf? Who is this? Ubay bin Khalaf, he was from the Mushrikun. He was from the Mushrikun. He was one, وهو مشرك الذي قتله رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He was a mushrik that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he killed him. Naam, he was a mushrik that he died due to a wound sustained at the hands of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a kafir inside of his boastfulness, inside of his evil and his treachery. He said unto the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I'm going to kill you. He threatened the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'm going to kill you. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, no, but by Allah, rather I'm going to kill you. Right? So this man on the day of Badr, when they were fighting, he saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he thought this was his opportunity, because he forgot that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him that he was that no, you ain't going to kill me, rather I'm going to kill you. He forgot. So he strove, he approached the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he tried to kill him. He tried to kill the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but rather the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam got the upper hand. As he saw him coming first, got the upper hand, and he wounded him. He wounded him. They say with a wound that others survived from. So the Quraysh, the Mushrikun, they said unto him, it's okay, you should be able to survive this wound. But at this time, he remembered what the Prophet ﷺ, he said. He said, no, rather, Muhammad said he's going to kill me. He remembered at that time, no, he got scared. No, Muhammad said he was going to kill me. And he died from that wound before making it home. He died from that wound before making it home. This was a person who the Prophet ﷺ killed with his own hands. Why is that significant? It's very significant because there comes a hadith that is hadith mutafiqun alayh, min hadith Abi Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, where the Prophet ﷺ, he said, اشتد غضب الله على رجل يقتله رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في سبيل الله. He said that Allah's anger is intensified upon a person who the Prophet ﷺ, he kills him fi sabilillah, in the way of Allah. Naam, so Allah's anger is intensified upon someone who got killed by the Prophet ﷺ doing jihad. He was one of these people that got killed by the Prophet ﷺ doing jihad. The anger is intensified upon him. Do you want to be with him yawm al-qiyamah? Huh? Do you want to be anywhere near him yawm al-qiyamah? A person who Allah's anger is intensified against? When we look at it from this standpoint, do we start to see the importance of the salah? The salah is, subhanallah, is of tremendous importance. Being steadfast upon the salah is lazim. There's no way around it. We have to be steadfast upon our salah. It's not an option if we want to be successful. The Shaykh goes on, he mentions for salah burhanun. So the salah is a hujjah, a shahid, with dalil, is a witness and is a proof and an evidence ala sidq al-iman al-shakhs, upon the truthfulness of the iman of an individual. وقال تعالى, Allah Ta'ala, He says, إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر. And verily, those who are entrusted to the upkeep and maintenance of the masajid, then verily they are only those who fear Allah. They are only those who believe in Allah and the last day. They believe in Allah and the last day. وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةِ, and they establish the prayer. Huh? They believe in Allah and the last day, and then they do what? They establish the prayer. Allah. Did we not just see the connection between, if you got a good prayer, how is it going to be good for Yawm al-Qiyamah? Right? And if it's not the case, how is it going to be really bad for Yawm al-Qiyamah? Because see, the belief, right? Belief in Allah and the last day, you see, it's connected. Because when a person truly believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they prepare to meet Him. They prepare to meet Him. So they do that which Allah Ta'ala commanded them to do, and they strive their best to stay away from that which Allah Ta'ala has commanded them to stay away from. And they what? They make tawbah when they slip up. نعم. وجاء في الحديث عن نبينا عليه الصلاة والسلام أنه قال العهد الذي بيننا وبينهم الصلاة فمن تركها فقد كفر. The Prophet ﷺ, it comes a hadith upon him where he says that the covenant that is between us and them is the salah. That which separates us and them is the salah. So whoever has abandoned the prayer, then verily he has disbelieved. Whoever abandons the prayer, then verily he has disbelieved. The aforementioned hadith about whoever من حافظ عليها كانت له نور وبرهان, to the end of it, that whoever كان له نورا وبرهانا, that whoever safeguards the prayer, then he will have a light and a proof and evidence. The hadith أخرجه أحمد and others. نعم, hadith أخرجه أحمد and others. نعم, and the second hadith here, that العهد الذي بيننا وبينهم, that the covenant between us and them is the salah. This hadith likewise أخرجه أحمد والترمذي والنسائي وابن ماجه and others. طيب. The Shaykh goes on, he says فشأن الصلاة في الدين الله تبارك وتعالى شأن عظيم. He says, so the status of the prayer inside of Allah's religion is tremendous. Is an affair that is tremendous. وهي أول ما يسأل عنه العبد يوم القيامة, and is the first thing that the slave is going to be asked about on the day of judgment. The first thing the slave will be asked about on the day of judgment is the salah. فإن قبلت فقد أفلح وأنجح. If it is accepted from him, then he will be successful, and he will be happy, and he will be successful. وإن ردت خابت وخسر. And if it is rejected, he will be a loser, and he will be ruined. He will be ruined, and he will be a loser. Na'am, as it comes in a hadith that is collected by At-Tirmidhi wa Nisa'i wa Sahahu al-Albani. فقد جاء في القرآن نصوص كثيرة في الأمر بإقامتها. There comes many ayats, many texts inside of the Qur'an which command with the establishment of the prayer, وَمَحَافَظَةِ عَلَيْهَا, and to be steadfast upon it and preserving of it, وَعِنَايَةً بِمَوَاقِيتِهَا, and to be careful and to have a constrained concern about the times of the salah, praying the salah inside of its times. وَتَحْذِيرٌ مِنَ السَّهْوِ عَنْهَا, and a warning from being neglectful as relates to the salah. وَالتَّفْرِيقُ فِيهَا وَإِضَاعَتِهَا, and from neglecting the prayer and losing the prayer and wasting the prayer. وَمِنْهَا, from this, قوله تعالى is Allah Ta'ala's statement, وَحَافِظُوا عَلَى الصَّلَوَاتِ, and safeguard and protect your prayers. وَالصَّلَاةِ الْوُسْطَى, and safeguard and protect the middle prayer. And the middle prayer is, who knows what the middle prayer is? Asr. Ahsantum. The middle prayer is Asr. وَقُومُوا لِلَّهِ قَانِتِينَ, and stand devoutly unto Allah Azza wa Jal. This is Surah Al-Baqarah, and it's verse 238. وقال الله تعالى, and Allah Ta'ala He says, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. Allah Ta'ala He says in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 110, and establish the prayer and pay the zakah. Notice Allah Ta'ala says, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, establish the prayer. So it's a must that we strive in the establishment of the prayer. وَفِي أَكْثَرْ مَوْضِعٍ من كتاب الله سبحانه وتعالى, and in more than one place in Allah Ta'ala's book. Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَتْ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا, that verily the salah is upon the believers at fixed times, as it comes in Surah An-Nisa verse 103. The salah is prescribed upon the believers at fixed times. وقال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا, and command your family to establish the prayer and be patient upon it. Be patient upon it. Na'am, as it comes in Surah Taha, verse 132. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى, Allah Ta'ala He says, Na'am, which is a threat to those who don't pray. Allah Ta'ala He says, وَخَلَفَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ أضاعوا الصلاة واتبعوا الشهوات فسوف يلقون غيا. Allah Ta'ala says what it means, and there will come after them a people who would أضاعوا الصلاة, they would lose, they will waste the salah, they will lose it, they will waste out on the salah. From the Mufassirun, they say what enters into أضاعوا الصلاة, what enters into leaving off the prayer, is not praying in totality. Tarikul salat. Na'am, not praying in totality enters into the meaning of abandoning the prayer. But also, what enters into the meaning of abandoning the prayer is not praying the prayer in its proper time. This also enters into the meaning of abandoning the prayer. Na'am, the person who is neglectful, and they pray in Fajr after the sun is already up. Neglectful. The person who's praying Dhuhr in the time of Asr, due to what? Because they're neglectful. Na'am, the person praying Asr in the time Maghrib, now they want to pray Asr. Subhanallah. Out of neglect. We're not saying a person that combines the Salat, so they pray Dhuhr and Asr together. They pray Maghrib and Isha together. We're not saying of the person that had a legislative excuse in the sense where they overslept, right? Because sometimes it happens. A person maybe is not feeling well. A person maybe had lack of sleep for many days, not sleeping a lot, many days, and what have you. They went to bed at a proper time, right? They took the means to wake up for Fajr. They intended to wake up for Fajr, took the means to wake up for Fajr, and they overslept. This happens. This is not a problem. This is not what is being spoken about. We're talking about a person that has a neglect. They oversleep out of neglect. What are some signs of oversleeping out of neglect? Is what a person who stays up all night playing. Stays up all night playing, lollygagging, doing things that have no benefit for them. And then what happened? An hour or half an hour before Fajr, they go to sleep. That person was neglectful. Nah, he was neglectful. Or the person who is not concerned about waking up for Fajr. Doesn't bother to set the alarm clock, is not even thinking about waking up for Fajr. وَعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, they may even intend to wake up after Fajr, which is another calamity within itself. Because some of the ulama, they mention that even this is abandoning of prayer intentionally. From them, Imam bin Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says that whoever abandons the prayer intentionally, whoever says, I'm not praying that prayer, like example, the case this person, He said, you know what? I know I got a long day tomorrow, so look, I'm going to get up like 9 something. He not worried about Fajr. He intended he going to sleep past Fajr. Imam bin Baz said a person that abandons one prayer intentionally has left Islam as a kafir. What was his proof? The hadith that we aforementioned. العهد الذي بيننا وبينهم الصلاة فمن تركها فقد كفر. That the covenant between us and them is the salah. Whoever abandons it has disbelieved. فقد كفر. He's a disbeliever. Disbelieved. So Imam bin Baz used this proof and others than that to show that that whoever abandons the prayer is a kafir. So whoever intentionally skips a prayer, intentionally, Imam bin Baz, he said, left Islam. Left Islam. Right? So this affair is tremendous. Anyway, here we have in this ayah, those who abandon the prayer. Those who abandon the prayer, meaning that they don't pray it or they don't pray it on time. وَاتَّبِعُوا شَهَوَاتِ. Now think about it. The people who don't pray, they following what? Desires. Why are they not praying? Because they follow desires. Whatever their desire may be. They're following after their vain desires. What does Allah Ta'ala says for these individuals? And this is also from the proofs and the evidences that the ulama used to say that the one who does not pray is a kafir. Is that what Allah Ta'ala says? فَسَوْفَ يَلْقَوْنَ غَيَّا. Then they are going to enter into a pit in hell called غَيَّا. This pit in hell, that's غَيَّا, is a pit in hell reserved for the disbelievers. So they said because they are threatened to go to this particular pit in the hell, then they have to be kuffar. Then they have to be what? Kuffar. Na'am wa iyadu billah. And this ayah can be found in Surah Maryam and it's verse 59. Na'am. There comes an ayah in Surah Al-Mudaththir and it's verse 42 and 43. Na'am. Where the people of the Jannah, they're going to ask the people of the fire, because there's going to be a time frame where the people in the Jannah will be able to talk directly to the people of the fire, and the people of the fire will be able to talk directly to the people of the Jannah. For a time period, it's going to be like this, and then that's going to be it. It's going to stop, right? But for a time frame, it's going to be like that, where they can talk to each other. So the people inside the Jannah, they will say to the people inside the fire, as Allah Ta'ala informed us of inside of His noble book, مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي السَّقَرِ. What has made you people enter into the hellfire? Saqar is from the names of hell. And what got you, and what landed you all in hell? What landed you all in hell? The people of hell, they're going to respond, as Allah Ta'ala informs us, they're going to say, قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُوا مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. They're going to say, we used to didn't pray. We were not from those who prayed. Do you see? So from the characteristics of the people in the hellfire is that they weren't, then they're not from those who pray. So how important is the prayer? Now, it's extremely important. Extremely important. Now, with it being this important, then we see why, or we see from the wisdom why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the prayer a pillar of Islam. It's a must. Because it's just that important. نعم. الشيخ he says إلى غير ذلك من الآيات المعظمة للشأن الصلاة. He said, and other than that, from those verses that show the tremendous nature of the salah. نعم. المبينة لعظيم مكانتها. Those verses would show its tremendous importance and how great its position is, or its status. نعم. ورفيع منزلتها في دين الله, and how its status inside of Allah's deen is tremendous. نعم. فحري بكل مسلم أن تعظم عنايته بهذه الفريضة التي هي صلة بينه وبين ربه تعالى. So it is a must, yani labud, that every individual has to have a genuine and serious concern. Every Muslim should have a genuine and serious concern and a magnification of, a tremendous magnification of his concern, like a tremendous concern for this particular obligation that is the connection between the slave and his Lord. It's a connection between the slave and between his Lord. اهتماما بأركانها. نعم. So, how could a person have a tremendous concern for the salah? This is how. نعم. اهتماما بأركانها. They have to have a tremendous concern and place tremendous importance on its pillars. Which means what? Which means we have to study. طالب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم. As the Prophet ﷺ said, seeking knowledge is obligatory upon every Muslim. So we have to learn what are the pillars of the prayer. Because he said, اهتماما بأركانها. Having a tremendous concern for its pillars. You can't have a concern for its pillars if you don't know what the pillars are. نعم. وواجباتها. And we have to have a genuine concern for its obligatory aspects. Now, if you don't know what are the obligatory aspects of the prayer, you will not be able to have a concern for it. وَشُرُوطِهَا. And for and a tremendous concern for its prerequisites. For its prerequisites and its conditions. Conditions, we know conditions, right? But prerequisites, why? Because the shurut take place outside the salah. The shurut are before you actually start to pray, right? Whereas the arkan and the wajibat, the needs take place during the prayer itself, during the performing of the prayer. Now, during the performing of the prayer. طيب. وغير ذلك مما شرع الله فيها. And other than that, from that which Allah Ta'ala has made obligatory in the salah. نعم. وأن يؤديها بغاية الخشوع. And that we do it having the epitome of khushu', of humility. Now all this comes into it as well. That mechanically is sound. That we doing the arkan correctly. We fulfilling the wajibat. We have fulfilled the prerequisites. So we have a concern with the prerequisites, so on and so forth. Now, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to come to what are the shurut, the salah and arkan and everything inside this book, inshallah ta'ala. But in addition to that, a person has to have khushu'. He has to have humility. He has to have concentration. He has to be aware of what he's saying. Not that he's praying and his mind is wandering all over the place, but that he's paying attention. He's concentrating. He's pondering over what he's saying. You see, this is a type of salah that's going to affect a person, that's going to benefit a person. Wa ihsan, and he has to be trying to pray in the most best of manner. Naam, wa tutmanina, and he has to pray and he has to make sure that he has stillness and tranquility of the body. Now when he's praying, and outside and inside, and of the heart. ظاهرا وباطنا, apparently and hiddenly, or externally and internally. So he has to be at rest. So this means what? Not praying fast. Right? Praying in a comfortable, natural manner. Not like those who pray like they working out. Right? When you wonder how does he even have time to say the ad'iyah in this particular position, because he came up and down so fast. Allah musta'an. Not coming to rest between the positions. From the hadith of the one who prayed badly, from that the Prophet ﷺ, he told him, and between each position, and come to a complete rest. Then go to the next one. Right? So we have to have tranquility when we're praying. Now, this is very important. Very important. Not rushing through the prayer is very important. Now, لِيَفُوزَ بِعَظِيمِ الثَّوَابِ, so that we can reach the tremendous reward that is linked to the salah. نعم. ففي صحيح مسلم, so it comes as Sahih Muslim, عن عثمان بن عفان رضي الله تعالى عنه. نعم. It comes inside Sahih Muslim on the authority of Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He said, قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول. He said, I heard the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم saying, ما من امرئ مسلم تحضره صلاة مكتوبة. He said, there is no Muslim man or woman, there is no Muslim, period, who attends a prayer that is obligatory. Now, meaning that they pray an obligatory prayer. فَيُحْسِنُ وُضُوءَهَا, and they excel in the performing of the wudu. They excel in the performing of the wudu. And the wudu is from the shurut, it's from the conditions and prerequisites of the salah. They excel in the wudu. وَخُشُوعَهَا, and they excel inside of the khushu', having khushu'. وَرُكُوعَهَا, and they excel inside of the bowing. I mean, they excel inside the performing of the salah and all of its motions. Whoever does this, إِلَّا كَانَتْ كَفَّارًا لِمَا قَبْلَهَا مِنَ الذُّنُوبِ, except that it will be an expiation for that which preceded it from sins. Who doesn't need that? That when they pray the prayer that is obligatory, if they excel in making the wudu and having khushu' inside of that prayer and in the performing of that prayer, then that will be an expiation for the sins. Na'am. Ma lam yu'ti kabira. As long as they don't commit a major sin. As long as they don't commit a major sin. So what is the condition to get that reward? Is that what? You cannot commit a major sin. Which means we have to learn what are the major sins. Because if we don't know what they are, then how are we going to avoid them? Right? Now listen. Just follow me for a second in this social media age and all this stuff, right? When we look at just some of what we just heard and what we went over about the importance of knowing the pillars of the prayer, the obligatory aspects of the prayer, prerequisites of the prayer. Now we add to that also knowing what are the major sins, right? All of this requires study. Study and seeking of knowledge requires time, right? Means that we have to allocate time towards these important things. Do you see how easy the shaitan, he distracts us from pursuing those things that we need to know about, and he gets us busy with things that either do not benefit us or bona fidely hurt us. Bona fidely hurt us. How many individuals don't know about these things? Maybe didn't, have no knowledge of these things whatsoever, but yet they know what's going on currently with this celebrity, that celebrity, because they follow them on Twitter, they follow them on Instagram, they're looking at what they're doing on Instagram, they done seen all their videos, even the latest one, even the one that came out today, even the one that came out 15 minutes ago. But you ask them about, about the shurut of salah, they say, what's that? What about the arkan of salah, what's that? You know what is a major sin? I don't know. How you going to benefit? How you going to benefit? How you going to get these benefits? Having the sins forgiven. How you going to get these benefits? Now, how you going to get these benefits? If you waste your time doing these things that are not beneficial. It is incumbent, it is a must that we really stop letting the shaitan get over on us and win, right? And we have to put some points in our win column against him, against our enemy, the shaitan, because he wants us to lose, he wants us to fail. If you want to be a winner, you have to be one who's steadfast upon your prayer. And in order to be steadfast upon your prayer, you got to learn how to pray. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli." Pray as you see me praying. We got to learn how to pray. We got to learn what are the pillars of the prayer. We got to learn what are the obligations of the prayer. What are the prerequisites of the prayer. We have to learn, what are the ways in which we could have khushu' inside the prayer. We got to know what are the major sins, so we stay away from it. We have to know what are the major sins so that we stay away from it. Because if we stay away from the major sins and we excel in the performing of the prayer and having khushu' inside of the prayer, and we excel in making wudu and in all of those prerequisites that are for the prayer, then we will have our sins forgiven. Then we will have our sins forgiven. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَذَلِكَ الدَّهْرَ كُلَّهُ. He said, and that's all year round. That's all year round. That reward is not reserved to just a special time of the year, and to not other times of the year, but that is a reward that is there to be gained all year round. Naam. So this is something we should strive for. This right here is a goal, right? I know school is back in now, right? But how many of you, they say during the summer times and when the school is out and during breaks, I'm bored, I don't have nothing to do. Ya Salam. Ya Salam. Seriously, you got nothing to do? Huh? What are the shurut of salah? Run them all. If you don't know, you got something to do. What's the arkan of salah? You don't know? You got something to do. What are the wajibat? You don't know? You got something to do. Right? There's always something to do. There's always something to do. Imam Muqbil rahimahullah ta'ala, he used to say, if you find yourself bored, then compete with those who came before. If you find yourself bored, compete with those who came before. And when one looks to those great scholars of Islam, those huffaz, na'am, those scholars who memorize 1,000,000 chains of hadith, compete with them. You always got something to do. Right? You haven't finished the Qur'an? Memorize Qur'an. You got something to do. Na'am. You memorize Sahih Bukhaari? No, memorize it. You got something to do. Person said, well, that's a little ambitious. Okay. You memorize 40 hadith? Okay, you got something to do. You finished 40 hadith? Umdah. You didn't finish that yet? Okay, you got something to do. After Umdah Bulugh, you got something to do. Or Lu'lu wal Murjan. You don't want Bulugh, Lu'lu. Okay, you got something to do. So there's always something to do from khair. There's always something to do from khair. So this is just a reminder to the youth. There's always something to do. And to the older people as well. Because we be claiming boredom too. There's always something to do. So strive to do those things which are beneficial, those things which will benefit us Yawm al-Qiyamah, those things that will come Yawm al-Qiyamah and be happy about bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. And at the top of those things, after the Tawheed, establishment of a Tawheed, and then it's going to be what? It's going to be the Salah. And then the Shaykh, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he gets into the next pillar, which is Zakat. But, bi'ithnillahi ta'ala, we will save that and additional pillars until the next class. bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. فنكتفي بهذا القدر وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وجزاكم الله خيرا.